Welcome to Tech Topics. My name is Stephanie, and I'm an assistive technology and activity specialist with Future in Sight. I hope you'll like this video and remember to subscribe to our channel and check back frequently as more tech topics are added on a regular basis. Today is all about the BARD mobile app. This is a free app from the App Store or Google Play Store, which allows you to download and enjoy many books and magazines. There's a few things that you need to set up first. You need to become a patron with the National Library Services. You can go to nls.gov to find out all the information to get started to become a patron. They can even send you a standalone player to enjoy the books and magazines from a separate device. Once you have become a patron, you can then download the app for free. Again, it's BARD Mobile, B-A-R-D. Then you're going to have to get in touch again with your state library in order to verify that you are in fact a patron to get a temporary username and password, which you can enter one time and then you can change to your own password to be secure on the app. Once you've done that, you can then begin enjoying the app. Let's dig in and talk about how to get started and enjoy some books or magazines. So, the first thing we do when we look at an app, once we've downloaded it, is we look at the menu that's going to be, typically there's a menu or tabs at the bottom going from left to right. Let me turn my speech rate down.
Speaking rate, 80%. Audio ducking, on. Speaking rate, 80, 77, 60, 60%, 55%.
Okay, there we go. Much better. And I'm going to get it
Audio ducking,
off.
containers, headings, characters.
Okay, I wanted to get it off of that focus. All right, so at the bottom you have a menu going across from the bottom left to right. Let's explore what's there. These are the things we're going to talk about.
Selected, bookshelf, tab, 1 of 4.
Okay, we have the bookshelf. Next to that,
Get books, tab, 2 of 4.
get books,
Settings, tab, 3 of 4.
settings, and finally next to that,
Now reading, tab, 4 of 4.
now reading. So that's in the very lower right. That was from left to right at the very bottom of your screen. What is highlighted or selected is the first option that we'll dig into.
Selected, bookshelf, tab, 1
And
of 4.
that's the bookshelf. So once you've downloaded books or magazines, this is where they go for you to find and then listen to. All right, so let's see what we might have. So then once we're going to start at the top left, about a ½ inch down from the top left and touch the screen.
Audio magazines, 0 item, audio bookshelf. Select category. Heading.
Okay, and you've got your bookshelf. Now let's flick to the right to move down the screen, and here's some options.
Audiobooks, 11 items.
Okay, we have audiobooks. There's 11 in there right now that I have downloaded. Again, flick to the right.
Audio magazines, 0 items.
Audio magazines, no magazines. I'm not super into the magazines, but some of you might, really want to check into some of those. They have great options. I'm just more of an avid book reader than I am in spending time in magazines. Also, if you need a refresher on how to navigate using VoiceOver, which is what I'm using, you can find a video in this channel all about navigating with VoiceOver. So I'm going to flick to the right.
Braille books, 0 items.
And again, there's Braille books. I actually access my Braille books on a separate device. I'll mention in a minute.
Braille magazines, 0 items.
Braille magazines.
Help, 1 item.
And there's some help.
Tab bar, selected.
And now we're back
bookshelf,
down in
tab.
we're back in the bottom menu. So a couple of advantages of the BARD mobile app over having a standalone player. The biggest is that you do not have to think about returning them, right? It is the standalone device with the Talking Book program through the National Library Services is a free completely free program in that you don't pay for the standalone device they provide you, and you don't have to pay to have the books mailed to you or sent back. They come in a digital format on what looks like an old-fashioned cassette when they mail them, but they're digital books. There's also, no due date on the app, right? So when you're using the BARD mobile app, you don't have to think about returning them, and you don't have to think about a due date. Keep them as long as you want. They don't take up much space on your phone or your tablet at all. The biggest, probably, in my opinion, the biggest drawback would be that you cannot sync the books across devices. And that was what I was mentioning. When it said I had 0 books on Braille or any Braille magazines, I actually do read some Braille books, but they are on a Braille display that I have. But you wouldn't see that here because they don't sync. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. You got to remember if you're going to a different device that you're going to have to kind of remember what book and chapter you were on, and you'd have to download it again onto that device. So hopefully that will change in a future update. That would be nice. There is a workaround, however, in a basic sense. You can put books or magazines in a wish list. If you put them in a wish list, then they will show up in all your devices. Okay, but you would have to still find what page you're on, and download it to each device. But you can at least get to that entire list and put it on whatever device you want. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Right now, we're just in, once you've downloaded a book, this is where it shows up, okay, in the bookshelf section. And let's go to audiobooks.
Help. 1 Braille magazines.
I'm going
0 items.
I'm going to flick left to move up to the audiobooks.
Braille books. Audio magazine. Audiobooks. 11 items.
Okay. And I have 11. I want that, so I'm going to double tap it.
An Amish Christmas wedding. 4 stories.
And let's go down a little.
Rose 5. 1 day in the life of Ivan Denisovich. Solzhenitsyn. Alexander.
So we have a bunch of books here. Let's flick to right to hear what else.
More info. 1 day in the life of Ivan Denisovich. Pippi Longstocking. More info. The Second Husband. More info. Twins of Auschwitz. More info. Upgrade. A novel. Crouch. Blake. Total time 9 hours 50 minutes 51 seconds.
So it told me a lot right there when I land on each book. As I flick to the right and land on each book, it says the title and the author and the time. But if I want to hear some other information, I could just flick down at this point. So I'm going to flick down.
Delete.
I could delete this book.
Annotation.
I could hear what the book's about.
More info.
Then I could hear more info, such as the whole kit and caboodle, I like to say, right? The title, the author, the time, the annotation, everything would come in there. Let's look down again.
Read.
And here's read.
All books by Crouch. Blake.
All books by that author.
All books in suspense fiction. All books in science fiction.
And again, I'm just flicking down, and these are my options.
Activate. Default.
Okay, and it cycles around, so if I keep going.
Delete. Annotation. More info. Read.
Okay, so it just keeps cycling around and around if I kept flicking down. All right, so let's just say I want to read that. I could double tap right here.
Upgrade. Recently read button.
It's called upgrade.
Double tap to display recently read lists.
I don't want you to be confused with, I'm not looking for an upgrade on my phone. The title of the book is Upgrade. All right.
Play button.
So now it throws me over
Double tap
into
to
the
play.
now reading area. And if you touch the bottom right of your menu at the very, very bottom, touch the bottom right.
Tab bar. Selected. Now reading. Tab.
There's now
404.
reading. Okay. So this is set up, if you do have a standalone player, this area of the app is set up much like the player, in that play is in the middle, forward is to the right of it, rewind is to the left of the play. There's a sleep timer. It's set up, fairly similar as much as it can be since you're on a flat screen. But let's find the play button. I'm going to I know it's in the middle, about 3/4 down, or I'm going to touch.
Play button.
All right, and I land on it.
Double
If you
tap
didn't
to
land on
play.
it, you just flick to the right or left till you actually hear play. Let's just hear what the book sounds like. I think it will play on here.
Upgrade, a novel by Blake Crouch. DB 110164.
Stop button.
Penguin Red.
Stop. Play button.
You could hear
Double tap
it's a
to play.
natural voice. They use, actual readers. Many times it's volunteers. Sometimes it's permission from the actual audio version of the book that they use directly from the book publishers. And once you hit, play turns into stop, okay? So I pressed play, and then I can double tap and it goes to stop. If I double tap again, it'll turn to play. If I double tap again, it'll turn to stop. So next to that, if I flick right.
Fast forward button. Double tap to move 5 seconds. Double tap and hold to move further.
Okay. And it says, double tap to go tap to go 5 seconds. And then double tap and hold to go even longer. I'll repeat that. It's actually double tap to go 5 seconds, which I'll do.
Forward 5 seconds.
And it set it. Or if I double tap and hold, which would be like, instead of a dit, it would be dit-ah. Press down hard with your finger on the second tap. So I'll do that for a minute, and you'll hear that it increases the longer I hold my finger. I'm going to tap and hold.
Forward. 20 seconds. 1 minute. 5 minutes. 15 minutes. 30 minutes. 1 hour. 2 hours.
All right, I'm going to let go. Once it gets up to the hour, it's hour by hour, okay? So you could hear, I tapped and held that whole time, so you could hear all the different increments. If I only wanted to go ahead 20 seconds, I would just let go once I heard it say 20 seconds. All right, so let's just hit, I'm going to flick left and land on play.
Play button.
And we should be in the middle of the book.
Play.
We should be in the middle of the book.
I'd read an abstract on the
Stop
IGF
button.
system. In
Double
fact,
tap to
I
stop.
could see a perfect image of it in my mind's eye. High learning and memory, I said. You just know that off the top of your head? I remember reading about it. Fox.
Stop.
Okay.
Play button.
So now
Double tap to
this
play.
time, let's flick left. So I'm on that play pause, the play stop button. Let's flick left.
Rewind button. Double tap to move 5 seconds. Double tap and hold to move further.
Okay, same thing. If I double tap, it'll go back 5 seconds. If I double tap and hold, it'll go in, larger increments. The longer I hold it down, press my finger into the phone. So I'll do that so you can hear what that sounds like. So I'm gonna, instead of dit, like this is dit,
Back 5 seconds.
right? And I let go. It was just 2 quick taps, and it just went back 5 seconds. Now I'm gonna tap and hold.
Back. 20 seconds. 1 minute. 5 minutes.
And I let go at 5 minutes. Okay, so if I kept holding, it would go up to an hour, and then it would go back an hour, an hour, an hour. All right, so we know now that in the middle we have the play stop button. To the right of that is the forward button, and to the left of the play button is the rewind button. Let's see what's beyond the forward button. So we have
Play button.
play. Now let's go to the
Double
right.
tap to fast forward button.
There's your fast forward. Let's go to the
Double
right
tap to move
again.
5 speed button. Double tap to
All right.
change to tone adjustment. Triple tap to reset speed adjustment.
Okay, so this is your speed and tone button. It doubles as it, but right now it's on speed. So let's leave it alone and flick to the right one more time.
Speed 100%. Adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
Now I have hints on my phone, which you could leave on as well. And that's why you're hearing, swipe up or down, okay, to change the speed. And 100 is the average marker for normal speed. Okay, so if I flick up,
125%.
that's faster. And flicking down
75%.
is slower. 100
100%.
is the normal speaking rate. I'll move up a little bit and let you hear what it sounds like in a faster rate. So let's flick up.
125%. 150%. 175%.
All right, so we're at 175%. Now we flick left to go back to the play button.
Speed button. Fast forward button. Play button.
Plastic zip ties dug into my wrists.
Stop
Then I was up
button.
again. Powerful people on either
Double
side of
tap
me
to
clutching my
stop.
arms at the shoulders, carrying me swiftly along, and the tips of my shoes scraping the pavement. I shouted. I screamed for help. Strings of daylight were barely visible through the threadbare portions of the hood.
Stop.
Now that
Play
might sound really
button.
fast to some of you.
Double tap to play.
It might even sound slow to some of you, depending on how long you've listened to books. It's almost like the frog in the pot of water. The more you listen to something, you don't realize that you've ended up in that pot. But in this case, it's a positive thing because the longer you listen, things sound slower. You say, yeah, I could bump that up a little bit. And then you keep listening to books, and then you say, well, yeah, I could bump it a little faster. Before you know it, 175 might sound normal eventually, but some people always like it at normal speed. They just enjoy a natural reading sound too instead of the fast sound. So I'm going to flick to the right.
Fast forward button. Speed button. Speed 175%.
And
Adjustable.
once I hear that number associated with the speed, I'm going to flick down.
150%. 125%. 100%.
Okay. Now it's at the normal speed again. Remember 100 is the normal speed. And you can change the tone. Let's flick left onto that speed button again.
Speed button. Double tap to change to tone adjustment. Triple tap to reset speed adjustment.
Okay. So let's double tap.
Tone.
And it changed it to tone. Now flick to the right.
Tone. Normal. Adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
Okay. It said the tone is right now normal. Let's swipe up.
+1. +2. +3. +4. +5. +6. Maximum.
6 is the maximum. Did you hear that? So just for fun, let's go back and hear what this sounds like. So I'm going to flick left till I reach the play button.
Tone. Fast forward. Play button.
And let's listen.
Double tap to play.
Straight ahead, I heard the sound of the door.
Stop button.
I was
Double
thrown
tap to
a
stop.
metal floor. The door slid shut, and I rolled back under the force of acceleration as a deep male voice said, "We've got him." "Yep." Came out the northwest fire exit.
Stop.
All right, that
Play
tone didn't really
button.
bother me. Sometimes
tap
it
to
might
play.
really bother you, depending on the book and the narrator and what number you put it at.
Fast forward. Tone button. Double
I'm
tap to
going to
change
put
to
it-
speed adjust. Tone. +6. Maximum. Adjustable.
I'm going to put it back
Swipe
to
up or down with
normal.
+5. +4. +3. +2. +1. Normal.
There. We'll leave it at normal. Now, I like to leave this on the speed and not the tone because I'm more apt to switch the speed than the tone. So I'm going to go back to the tone button, flick once to the left.
Tone button.
And
Double tap to change to speed adjustment. Triple tap to speed.
there. I put it back on the speed. And now let's see what's to the left of the play button. So now we know we have the play button. To the right of that is the fast forward button. To the right of that is the option to go from speed to tone and back again. And to the right of that is the adjustable swiping up or down, whether it's speed or tone, to make the adjustment. Now let's figure out what's to the left of the play button.
Fast forward. Play.
There's
button.
the play button.
Double tap to play. Rewind. Button.
There's rewind. Let's see what's to the left of this.
Next. Button.
Okay, now we're
Double
on
tap
another
for next front
line,
matter.
really.
Double tap and hold to move 5 front matter at a time. Jump by front matter. Button. Previous. Button. Jump by front matter. Button. Double tap to change navigation level.
Okay, so this is really above the play button. Okay, so if you find the play button
Play. Button.
and you move
Double
your
tap
finger
to
up,
play. Jump by front matter. Button. Double tap to change navigation level.
okay, so above the play button is this jumping by level button. I'm going to double tap that,
Jump by chapter.
So I have options here. I can jump by chapter,
Jump by phrase.
phrase,
Jump by bookmark.
bookmark,
Menu. Jump by part.
part. It's a big chunk.
Jump by chapter.
I like chapter. Let's leave it at chapter. And sometimes if you, for example, if you download audio magazines, they might not necessarily use those phrases. It might not be chapters. It might be article. Okay. But you'd find those ways to jump forward or back above the play button. All right. And so then to the right of jump by chapter
Next button.
would be next.
Double tap for next chapter.
This would take you to the next chapter.
4.
Okay, let's see if they actually name it.
Play button.
The
Stop
next time
button.
my eyes opened, I was lying on a hard mattress.
Okay.
Stop.
And
Play.
then,
Jump by chapter button.
okay, I can...
Double tap to change navigation level.
So, sometimes it will say, it depends on how the book is written. The narrator's going to read it like the book was written. Sometimes if you jump ahead by chapter, there's nothing that indicates it's the next chapter, but it really is. It might be that the author named every chapter, chapter, it could be roses and then lilies. They might name their chapters, or they might just be chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7. So when we jump ahead by chapter,
Previous. Jump by next button. Double tap for next chapter. Double tap and hold to move 5 chapters at a time.
okay, it's somewhat like the fast forward button. I can double tap and go 1 chapter ahead.
5.
All right, I'm going to do it again.
6.
Or I can double tap and hold.
Next. 5 chapters. 10 chapters.
And then I let go. So you heard it jumping ahead even faster. So you can really skip around and get to where you need and hone in on, where you'd like to be in a certain book sometimes if you want to use the this feature of jumping and navigating by different methods such as chapters. So likewise, if I flick left,
Jump by chapter button.
I'm on the chapter button.
Double tap
If I
to
flick
change
left
navigation
again,
level. Previous button.
okay, now I'm on the previous chapter. So again, if I just double tap,
13. Part 3.
Jump by part button.
oops, sorry, I hit a button.
Double
Every
tap to
time,
change
every time I just do an ordinary double tap, I'm going to go to the previous chapter. But if I tap and hold, I will jump quickly by 5 chapters previous.
Jump by part previous button. Double tap
And I
jump by
changed
part
it.
button. Jump by phrase. Jump by bookmark. Menu. Jump by part. Jump by part. Jump by part button. Jump by phrase. Jump by bookmark. Menu. Jump next. Jump by part button. Previous button.
Okay. Well, I'll leave
Double
it there.
tap for
Let's do
previous
this.
part.
Previous.
Double tap and hold to
We're going to jump by part and see what happens.
previous. Beginning of book.
Okay,
Beginning
so
of book.
that's a big chunk, right? So that gives you the idea that jumping by chapters, jumping by part are large chunks, okay? So you can play around with that. If you have bookmarks going on, you can jump by those. It's really a great way to navigate. So so we have play, and we have stuff to the right and the left of play. Above play, we have the jump by.
Jump by part button.
Okay, above
Double tap
that,
to change. Current position.
we have position. We
Current
have some
position
information.
0%.
I'd rather
Adjustable.
actually start now at the top left, about a quarter of an inch down from the top left and touch the screen.
Beginning of book. Recently read button.
All right.
Double tap to display recently read lists.
We don't want to do that, but we want to keep, now we're at the top of the page, and we want to flick to the right.
Airplay button. Upgrade a novel heading.
So you could AirPlay it.
AirPlay button.
Okay, if you wanted to AirPlay this on a Bluetooth speaker or something like that, you could do that. Let's flick to the right.
Upgrade. A novel. Heading.
And that's a heading. It's just a sign of where we are. That's the title of the book, Upgrade. Flick to the right again.
Navigation button. Double tap to display navigation lists.
Okay, you can display your navigation lists. Let's flick to the right again.
Beginning of book.
Okay, you could go to the beginning of the book.
Author. Crouch. Blake.
There's the author,
Narrator. Henry Leva.
the narrator,
Book number. DB 110164.
book number.
0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds / 9 hours, 50 minutes, and 51 seconds.
That told me how far I am in the book and how long the book is, right? And it said 0 as far as how far I am into the book, because remember, I skipped back by, by that section. So I went all the way to the beginning of the book. So I haven't read it yet, according to this. So out of the total time, let's flick to the right again.
Current position 0%. Adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
Here's another fun way to skip forward or back to move your position in the book. And it just said to swipe up or down to move ahead. All right, so let's try that.
10%.
So it goes by percentage. I flick up to move ahead.
20%.
And I can flick down
10%. 0%. Beginning of book.
to move to a previous percentage in the book. So this goes by percentage. And the other methods I was showing you was more by, timing and chapters and phrases, that kind of thing. So let's flick to the right.
Sleep timer button.
This is nice.
Double tap to cycle through timer options.
Okay, so you double tap to cycle through the sleep timer options. Let's hear what those are each time I double tap.
Sleep timer. 15
Upgrade.
minutes.
A novel
30 minutes.
by Blake Crouch.
45 minutes.
DB 11.
Sleep timer. 45 minutes. Stop.
I don't know why, but when I double tapped, it wanted to play the book. So
Bookmark. Sleep timer.
there, let's try again.
Sleep timer. 15 minutes.
Random House Audio. Originally
Sleep timer,
produced this
15
unabridged
minutes.
recording for the commercial market.
Sleep timer.
It
15
has
minutes.
been adapted for the
30 minutes.
NLS Talking Book Program.
45 minutes.
Elements from
60
the original
minutes.
recording, including music,
Sleep part.
sound effects, announcements.
So every time I touched that sleep timer, you could hear it, but you also heard it was reading the book too. All right? But you do have that sleep timer option, and that's really invaluable if you like to enjoy books like I do, when you go to sleep for a little bit, when you hit the pillow, you might want to set your sleep timer, because you could be out and then wonder, where did you leave off? So this is very handy. Let's flick to the right again.
Bookmark button.
Here's where you
Double tap to insert bookmark. Double tap within 5 seconds of an existing bookmark to delete it.
Okay, so that's straightforward to double tap to insert a bookmark. I mean, remember, then you can skip ahead or back by bookmarks too to find all your bookmarks. Then it also tells you that you can delete your bookmark. All right, let's flick to the right again.
Previous button.
And this
Double
should sound
tap for
familiar.
previous front jump by front matter button.
There we go. Now we're back into
Double tap
those.
to change navigation level.
Now we're back into the areas I mentioned at the beginning on how to listen to the book with your play at the 3/4 down the middle and the bottom. And you have your fast forward and your speed to the right and your rewind to the left. But above the play stop is that jump by, right? And you can change that to chapter or phrase or whatever. And then you can move ahead or you can move to previous. So that's really how you navigate listening to a book, okay? And I showed you in the bookshelf how to access and find those books. So let's say I'm in this book. I want to read a different book. I can just go to the very bottom left.
Tab bar. Bookshelf. Tab. 1 of 4.
And I could double tap.
Bookshelf. Select
Now
category.
I'm in the bookshelf, and I would again go back to the top and go to audiobooks.
Help. 1 night. Braille book. Audio magazine. Audio books. 11 items.
Double tap.
An Amish Christmas wedding.
Right,
4
and
stories.
I could hear all the different book titles, and I can flick down to hear the information about one. So I'm in this Amish Christmas wedding book. If I flick down,
Delete.
I could delete it.
Annotation.
There's that annotation. Let's see if maybe I just want to know what this book's about. Let's double tap.
4 delightful stories perfect for celebrating love, joy, and the everyday miracles Christmas brings. Includes Evergreen Love by Amy Clipston, Holiday of Hope by Kelly Irvin, Wreathed in Joy by Kathleen Fuller, A Christmas Prayer by Vanetta Chapman. Commercial audio. Adult.
Okay, so it read the annotation to me. And I could say, yeah, I don't really want that anymore. Or I could say, I want to listen to that right now. And I could flick down.
Read.
And double tap on read if I want to do that.
All books by Chapman. Vanetta.
And again, you get into the whole cycle of all the books by them, but every time you flick down. Or we can do another thing too. So if each book in this is going to have the title. Now if I flick right instead.
Behind the scenes. Or 30 years a slave and 4 years in the White House.
Here's a title, but if I flick right.
More info.
There's always going to be a more info button. Okay, it's going to, if I flick right into it, that method, instead of flicking down when I hear a title, if I flick right, it's always going to be title, more, title, more. Okay, but if I hear a title and flick down, I will cycle around the wheel, the invisible wheel of annotation and read and, books by that author and all that. Okay, so you can choose each time you land on a book, you can choose to flick down and circle around the info and hear more things right there. Or you can choose to flick right and land on more. Okay, if I land on more.
Crying in Age Mart, a memoir. Zahner, Michelle. Total time 7 hours, 25 minutes, 35 seconds.
Okay, that's the book title. Instead of flicking down, if I flick right.
More info. Crying in Age Mart, a memoir. Zahner, Michelle. Button.
Okay, I'm going to double tap on more.
Info. Crying in Age Mart.
I double tapped on more. Now you can start near the top, about a 1/4 inch down, touch the screen.
The author reflects on her experiences. Audiobooks. Back button.
Okay, and flick to the right.
Details. Heading.
There's details heading. It's a sign.
More actions. Button.
Now I'm just flicking to the right and working my way through this information.
Crying in Age Mart, a memoir. Zahner, Michelle. The author reflects on her experiences growing up Korean American, struggling with expectations, meeting her husband, and losing her mother to cancer. She also discusses her journey to forge her own identity and claim the taste, language, and history left to her by her mother. Unrated. Commercial audiobook. Bestseller, 2021.
Okay, I heard a lot of the annotation there.
Expand annotation, button.
I could even expand it and hear more.
Narrator, Michelle Zahner.
Okay, I'm just flicking to the right, going down working my way down the information.
Total time, 7 hours, 25 minutes, and 35 seconds. Book number, DB, 103413. Read, button.
And there's a read button right there, and I could double tap that, and it would push me over into that player area that we just went over.
Tab bar, selected, bookshelf.
And here's
tab,
the bottom
1
menu.
of 4.
All right, I'm going to get back out of this.
Crying in Age Mart.
All right, so I'm back in the list of all my books in the bookshelf section. Let's say I quickly wanted to go over and say, oh, I just want to get in here and read my book. I opened up the BARD mobile app. You can use Siri, and just ask Siri to open BARD mobile. Like you can ask her to open any app. And then in the lower right, remember I said there's a menu at the bottom. We had that bookshelf.
Tab bar, selected, bookshelf. Tab.
Next to
1 of
that.
4. Get books. Tab. Settings.
Next to
tab,
that is
3 of 4.
settings.
Now reading. Tab. 4 of 4.
Okay, here's now reading. When I double tap now reading, that last option, it said 4 of 4 in the very lower right. I'm going to double tap on now reading. And here we have the player that we just went over with the play button in the middle.
Play button.
3/4 the way down.
Double tap to play.
3/4 the way down in the middle is the play. Above that
Jump by front matter button.
is that jump by front matter, or you can change it to jump by chapter or phrase, etc. So that's what we just went over. So now reading is the player, if you think about it that way, okay? And the bookshelf is once we've downloaded any books or magazines, where we'd go to find them, okay? So you can download a bunch of books, but you don't have to necessarily start reading them all, but you can have them all ready to go if you wish. Now let's talk about how to get a book. All right, so let's go to that bottom menu at the very bottom in the lower left
Tab bar. Bookshelf.
is bookshelf.
Tab 1 of 4.
That's bookshelf. Next to that
Get books. Tab 2 of 4.
is get books. That's what we want. So let's double tap on get books.
Get books. Heading.
All right, there's a few things we can do here. So let's start at the very top left, about a quarter of the way down.
Search. Get books. Heading.
There we go. Get books heading. That's just the sign of where we are. We know we're in get books. Flick to the right.
Search. Double tap for search.
Okay. We could search, and I will show you that in a second, but I just want to, give you the lay of the land, what's in this area. Let's flick to the right.
Wish list. Double tap for wish list.
There's the wish list. Okay, and I will show you that in a minute as well. Keep going.
Recently added to BARD. Double tap for recently added to BARD.
Here's some suggested ways of how we could, discover what we want to read for books. We could see what was recently added and double tap in here. I will do that.
Audiobooks.
And then say do you want to search for recently added audiobooks or
audio magazines.
Audio magazines.
Double Braille books.
Braille books.
Braille magazine. Tab bar.
Okay, so
Braille,
let's go to
Braille books. Audio books.
Let's go to audiobooks. I'm going to double tap.
Audio section index. The truths, progressives, centrists, and the future of the dem.
So these are books that were recently added to BARD. I'll flick to the right.
More info. Imagine freedom, transforming pain into political and spiritual power. More info. Imagine 1-2 Peter. Sproul. R. More info. 1-2 Peter.
Notice as I flick to the right, you hear title more, title more. And that was what we heard in the bookshelf too, right? For the books that I added, that I've already downloaded and added into my bookshelf. You heard the title and more, title more. Well, I said there was another way you could hear about a book, right? You could also be on the title, and instead of flicking right, you could flick down. So let's try that. Let's land on a book.
Romans. Sproul. R. C. Robert Charles.
Let's
Total
go to
time
something.
20
I'm
hours.
going to go to something different.
More info. Just another epic love poem. A novel. Actory. Carissa.
Okay.
Total time 9 hours.
Here's a good enough book. Let's flick down.
Annotation.
Oh, this is familiar. Annotation. Flick down again.
More info.
More info.
Download.
Download.
Add to wish list. All books by Actory. All books in LGBTQ+. All books in young adult. All books in romance. Activate. Default.
Okay. So let's say I want to know the annotation. Flick down.
Annotation.
Double tap.
Best friendship blossoms into something more in this gorgeously written queer literary romance. The heartache and longing of witnessing a beloved character pine hopelessly.
Okay. And you're going to hear that. So then you could...
More info.
You could get more info again.
Download.
You could download this book. And if you download it, it would go right into your bookshelf. Or you could flick down.
Add to wish list.
And you could say, I just want to add it to my wish list because I don't want too many books maybe on my bookshelf, but I want it in that wish list kind of, on reserve. And again, remember what I said, everything put in the wish list is then visible whether you're on the BARD mobile app on your iPhone or your Android phone or your tablet or your Victor Reader Stream or, anywhere, okay, that you can access the books. The wish list will show up everywhere. Whereas if I downloaded it, it would only show up on my iPhone 15 Pro, remember, that I'm using to demo this with, okay? So maybe I just want to add it to the wish list. I'll go ahead and double tap.
Just another epic love poem, a novel. Actory.
And we will see that it's in the wish list in a minute, okay? Let's flick to the right again.
More info. Just rules for rule breaking. More info. Rules
So
for
you
rule
see
breaking.
that when I flick to
Tucker,
the right,
Talia.
when I flick to the right, it's title more,
Double tap to
title
get
more.
more
But
info.
if I flick down, you go around the wheel of choices, annotation, download, add to wish list. But if I flick to the right, it's title more, title more. So let's click on a more.
The Haunting of Velkwood. Kissed. Gwendolyn.
There's a title. Let's flick to the right.
More info. The Haunting of Velkwood.
let's double tap on the more info.
The Haunting of Velkwood.
So this is going to show up. We're going to start near the top left, about a quarter down.
The Haunting of Velkwood.
Okay, flick to the right, and you're going to hear all the information.
Kissed. Gwendolyn. 3 childhood friends miraculously survive the night when everyone in their suburban hometown turns into ghosts. Provided by publisher. Unrated. Commercial audiobook.
Okay, flick to the right.
Expand annotation. Button.
We could expand and hear more about it.
Narrator. Jennifer Pickens. Total time. 7 hours, 39 minutes, and 0 seconds. Book number. DB. 120103.
There's the DB.
Add to wish list. Button.
All right, and let's add that one to the wish list as well.
Selected. Add to wish list.
Right.
Delete from wish list. Button.
And then if it turns into delete if I want to take it out. But let's flick to the right again.
Download. Button.
I could download it right here.
Tab bar. Bookshelf.
And now I'm into
Tab.
that bottom.
1 of 4.
I'm into that bottom menu.
Download. Button.
Let's try downloading. I'm going to try downloading it and see if it rings a little bell when it's done being downloaded. Let's see if that will come across through this recording.
Downloading.
Okay. And there you
Audio
go.
books. Back.
It's done being downloaded.
Downloaded. The Haunting of Velkwood.
Okay, so I added that haunting. I got to remember that title to look in the bookshelf. But I added the haunting book to the bookshelf, already ready to read. And I added the other book to my wish list. So let's go back another layer. These are just recently added books to BARD. Let's go back.
Audiobooks.
All right.
Audio magazines. Recently added to
Here
BARD.
we go. So
Double
I could
tap
do
for
recently added to BARD.
Most popular books.
I could also search through most popular books, and it would be the same scenarios, right? If I flick to the right, if I open this up, it would be title more if I flick to the right. If I land on a book and flick down, I'll go around the wheel, annotation, read, add to wish list, and that sort of thing. So you have 2 ways to, hear information about your book that you might be interested in.
Browse magazines.
You can
Double
also
tap
browse
for browse
magazines.
Previous downloads.
This is
Double
nice
tap
too.
for previous downloads.
Previous downloads is nice because you can see what you've downloaded before and what you've already read. So that's really wonderful.
Search music.
There's
Double
also,
tap for search
yes,
music.
you can access some music here as well.
Tab bar. Bookshelf.
And then
Tab.
back to
1
the
of 4.
menu at the bottom. So let's flick to the left a bunch.
Search previous browse magazine. Most popular. Recently added wish list.
There's the wish list. Let's double tap on the wish list. All right,
Just
open that
another
up.
epic love poem. A novel. Act 3. Toolbar. Author. Button. 2
All
of
right.
2. Title. Button. 1 of 2.
Here we go. Let's flick to the right.
Author. Button. Just another epic love poem. A novel. Act 3. Parisa. Audio. Total time 9 hours
That's the
30
one I added to the wish list. So now I'm here.
More info. Just
It's
another
the
epic.
same scenario. Title, more for everything in the wish list. So there is a method to the madness in this app. So I could, double tap on more and hear all about the book and annotation author that way and download it. Or I can be on the title
Toolbar. Just another epic love poem. A
and
novel.
I could swipe down.
Delete. Annotation. More info. Download. All books by Actory. All books in LGBT. All books in young adult. All books in romance. Activate. Default. Delete.
Okay. Delete.
Annotation.
Annotation.
More info. Download.
Download. Let's say I want to download it from the wish list. I'm going to double tap.
Downloading. Just another epic love poem. A novel. Actory. Parisa. Audio.
And it's
Downloaded.
done.
Just an.
You like that doorbell, huh? So we'll go over to the bookshelf after and find those 2 books, okay? Just another love poem, was it?
Toolbar. Author. Downloaded. Just another epic love poem.
Just
A
another
novel.
epic love poem.
Actory.
Okay, and the other was a haunting. I got to remember what they're called for when I go looking in the bookshelf. But let's go back out of the wish list.
Wish list.
And the only thing we really haven't talked
tap
about in
for
here
wish
is
list.
searching.
Search.
Okay,
Double
so we
tap
can
for search.
search for a book.
Search. Search field. Double tap to edit.
And I'm going to double tap to open up the edit field, which will bring up the keyboard.
Search field is editing. Insertion point at start. Use the rotor to access misspelled words.
Now, I could enter an author, I could enter a title, I could enter a DB number, I could enter a title and author. So the best way to do it is to really hone in on what you think's going to find the book, the quickest, right? You might only know a piece of the information. You might only know James Patterson, and you type that author in and you're going to get a bazillion books, right? But maybe you know The Shining by Stephen King and you type that in, and then you'll hone in on your results. Because if I typed in Stephen King only, it would bring up all the results with the word Stephen, all the results with the word King, and all the results with the word Stephen King, right? Same with James Patterson. It'll bring up all the results with James, all the results with Patterson. So it's really good to, try to fine tune your searching. The best would be if you ever know the DB number, because there's only one DB number per book. So you'd go right to it in your search. But that doesn't always happen. We don't always know the DB number unless somebody recommends it and gives us that. So just for today's purposes, let's type in something short. I'm going to type in, let's type King, just because we need some kind of example. All right. And you can dictate once the keyboard is up.
K.
But I'm going to type it.
Kind. I-N-N-G.
Okay, I typed in the word. Now, I have to go back to the top.
Search field is editing. King. Character mode. Insertion point at end.
And keep going to the right.
Use the rotor to clear text. Button.
Okay, I could clear the text and type over, but keep going to the right.
Go. Button.
And then I hit go. You can also, use your voice dictation to do this, but I wanted to show you this other method too, in case you want to, if you want to spell a name correctly, a difficult title, you're going to want to access the keyboard. 'Cause it sometimes will pick up great with the voice dictation, but sometimes, you're going to have to know how to type, okay? So I'm going to double tap on go.
Go. King Lear. Shakespeare. William.
All right.
Total time 5 hours 40.
So now I'm in a bunch of results, okay?
Sort by latest. Button.
I could,
sort, go. Button.
after go,
Sort by title.
I
Button.
could sort by title.
Sort by author.
I'm
Button.
flicking to the
2 of
right.
3.
I'm flicking to the right. I could sort by author.
Sort by latest. Button. 3 of 3.
Okay. But I'm just going to keep going.
King Lear. Shakespeare. William.
King Lear.
Total time.
Let's keep going.
More info. King of Kings. Smith. More info. King Rat. More info. King. Alive. Eeg. Jonathan. Total. More info. King of Scars. Bardugo. Lee. More info.
So you see title more as I flick to the right. Or
King Charlie. Brand. Max.
there's a title. Let's flick down.
Annotation.
Annotation.
More info. Download. Add to wish list. All books by brand. All books in Western stories. Activate.
Okay.
Default.
So you could flick down and it will cycle around all that information, or you can do title more. And you could double tap on the more and hear all the information that way. So you have your choice. So there is some consistency for sure. Let's go to, so that's how you search. Let's go to the bookshelf.
Tab bar. Bookshelf. Tab. 1 of 4.
And that's in the lower left corner. So I have to double tap once I hear it.
Bookshelf. Select category.
That highlights it or selects it. Now let's go back to the top.
Audio magazines. 0. Audio books.
We want
13.
audio books. Audio books, I'm going to double tap. I know they're here because it used to say 11 and now it does 13. So let's double tap.
An Amish Christmas wedding. 4
All
stories.
right. So now we're going to find it. So we're going to flick to the right.
More info. Behind the scene. More in Crying in Age Mark. More in A Dream of Home. More in The Haunting of Velkwood. Kissed. Gwendolyn.
Remember that one? That's the one that's one of them I downloaded. When I went into the more info for that one, I downloaded it that way. Let's find the other one.
More info. Intro to the Penny Whistle. More info. Just another epic love poem.
And there it is.
Actory. Parisa.
So there it is. All right. So the last thing to really talk about in getting started would be the settings. So we've talked about the
Tab bar. Selected.
Bookshelf.
Tab. 1. Get books.
We've talked about get books.
Settings. Tab.
There's
3 of
settings.
4.
And we've talked about
Now reading.
now
Tab.
reading.
4 of 4.
So I'm going to land back on settings. It's the very bottom row.
Settings. Tab. 3 of 4.
And it's 3 of 4. let's double tap on settings.
Settings. Heading.
And we start near the top, about a quarter inch down.
Audio settings. Button.
Okay, so we have some different types of settings.
Settings. Heading.
Okay, there's your settings heading. I'll let you hear what's here first. There's
Audio settings. Button.
audio settings,
Braille and display settings. Button.
braille and display,
User account settings. Button.
user account.
Siri settings. Button. BARD mobile 830.
Okay, that's just the, version. Let's go to Siri.
Siri settings. Button.
Siri settings can be fun. You can access things a little differently with Siri, right? And so let's double tap on that.
Now reading audio. Button.
So what you can do,
Now reading audio. Button. Tab bar. Bookshelf. Tab. One
let
of
me get up
settings.
here.
Back button.
I have to,
Settings. Back button.
there we go. All right, now flick to the right.
Siri settings. Heading.
There's your Siri settings heading.
Now reading audio. Button.
Now reading audio.
Tab bar. Bookshelf.
All
Tab.
right.
1 of 4.
And so I'm going to do that.
Now reading audio.
Now reading
Button.
audio. I'm going to double tap.
Playback. Button.
Okay. You have
Now reading audio. Playback. Button.
playback
Navigate.
or
Button.
navigate.
Tab bar.
Okay,
Bookshelf.
I flicked to
Navigate.
the right.
Playback.
Let's
Button.
do playback. Double tap on playback.
Start playing.
And you can use,
Playback. Heading.
let's get,
Start playing.
start playing could be a Siri shortcut.
Added to Siri. Start playing. Button.
Okay, it's already added to my Siri. So I don't, I could just say, start playing, and it will play the book. All right?
Stop playing.
Likewise, I could say, stop playing, and it will stop the book. I could ask, I would have to say, Siri, stop playing. And that's
Added to Siri. Stop playing.
already
Button.
added to my Siri shortcuts. They have a few more in here.
Sleep timer. An interactive shortcut.
It's an interactive shortcut.
Add to Siri. Button.
Okay.
Sleep timer 15. Add to Siri. Button.
You could say sleep timer 15 and it will automatically do it if you ask Siri. You have to double tap to select for it to be a Siri shortcut. So I'll double tap and select this one.
Edit in shortcuts. Button.
Okay.
Edit in shortcuts. Hey, sleep timer 15. Shortcut added. To
But
use
I could take
save
it
as
out
straight-
if I double tap again.
Shortcut added. Shortcut added. To change voice phrase. Button. Shortcut. Sleep timer 15. Text field. Hey Siri.
So I don't want any of that.
Start playing. Playback. Now reading
Let's-
audio. Now
let's
reading
try,
audio. Playback. Heading. Start playing.
Start playing.
Added to Siri. Start playing. Button.
Say I don't want that anymore to be a Siri shortcut. I could double tap.
Edit in shortcuts. Button.
Okay. And you can edit it in shortcuts, just like the other one, the 15-minute sleep timer. It gives you all these options that you can do, or you can just turn it off entirely.
Edit
Okay.
in shortcuts.
So
Button.
let's back out of this. I won't go
reading
over
audio.
everything
Back button.
in settings because this will make this a lot longer.
reading
but
audio.
I'll
Back
show you
button.
some highlights.
Now reading audio. Back button.
I'm going to go back.
Now reading. Playback. Button.
Okay.
Navigate. Button. Playback. Now reading audio. Heading. Siri settings. Back button.
Back out of
Siri
that.
now reading audio.
So you can do a lot. You can set a lot of Siri shortcuts by playing around with those and using the phrases they say, or it does allow you to change the phrase you say. So if you don't want it to say, hey Siri, start playing, you could say, change it to maybe play my book, right? Or stop playing my book. There's a edit field you can tap on in there and change the phrase if you want, or you can just use the phrase they provide. So Siri shortcuts are always great, and most apps have some.
Now reading audio. Button.
All right, let's see.
Now reading audio. Siri settings. Heading.
I gotta get out of that.
Settings. Back button.
There we go.
Setting. Siri settings.
All right.
Button. Audio settings. Button. Settings. Heading.
So we're in the settings section, remember? And so we looked at the Siri settings.
Audio settings. Button.
There's some audio settings. Let's see.
Speed.
Double tap on that.
100%.
I double tapped on it.
Speed. 100%.
So in here, it allows you to do some things like change the speed, change the tone. But I really like to set those in each book because each reader reads a little naturally slower or faster in their own cadence and everything. So I like to do it in the now listening when you're in the player. Remember I showed you how you can change the speed or the tone. I prefer to do it that way because, again, everybody reads differently, the voices and how they talk, and I might like somebody faster or slower than somebody else. And there's more settings in here to peruse and play with, but I'm not going to go over absolutely everything. This is getting started with the BARD mobile app, remember. So we'll
Audio
back
settings.
out of that.
Button. User account settings. Button. Braille and display settings.
Braille,
Button.
and you can play with the Braille and display settings if you have Braille device that you have paired to your smartphone or tablet.
User account settings. Button.
And then we have user account settings. Let's go in here for a second, maybe. Let's see.
BARD account. Stephanie. Download over mobile network off. Auto lock during download. Show
Oh,
me.
this is a good
Auto
one.
lock during download off. Switch
Auto
button.
lock during download. You
Double
want
tap
that
to toggle
off. Auto lock during download. You want to make sure that's off.
Show me both audio and Braille. Button.
Okay. And you want it to show both audio and Braille. You don't have to. I like to know about the Braille books, things like that. So you can peruse through that.
User account settings. Button.
All right. It also had the section for my username. I didn't want to go into that too deep because it will reveal my information, but you can go under your name in there and change your password and all that. Okay, so you'd find that under
Braille. User account settings.
user accounts settings.
Siri settings.
Then you're back to the Siri. So we've really covered the entirety of this app. We have learned things today such as how to download how to download a book, how to download a book, how to add a book to a wish list, how to hear information about books before we even add to the wish list or download. We talked about how to move a book from the wish list into your bookshelf to be able to read it. We talked about accessing books from the bookshelf to then show up in the now reading, the now listening. We went into the now listening player and we learned to navigate around that space so we could play, pause, fast forward, rewind, etc. So we've also talked about how to search for a book that we want to look through, whether it's by title, author, or DB number. So I think we've covered quite a bit, and even looking through some Siri settings and some other audio settings, where to go to change your password, and so on. I thank you very much for listening to this tech topic all about BARD Mobile, and I hope that you have a lot of fun with this app and enjoy many, many hours of wonderful books and magazines and a little bit of music that you can discover through this app.